Let's have the continuation of our lecture video in Engineering Economics. In this video, we have the topic depreciation. Now, what is depreciation? Depreciation is the decrease in the value of a physical property with the passage of time. Depreciation takes the amount you spent to buy an asset and allocates a proportionate amount to each of the periods of its useful life. So we will solve the following problems to fully understand the definition for depreciation. Now, in solving for depreciation, we will have to discuss 5 methods. And in this video, we will have the 3 methods. We have the straight line method, the sinking fund method, and the sum of years digit method. Now, the first one is the straight line method. For the straight line method, we have the formula here. For the annual depreciation, we have the first cost minus the salvage value divided by the life in years. So, the life of the property. Now, if we are solving for the total depreciation, the total accumulated depreciation after X years, so we will put here the number of years. For example, if the life of the property is 5 years, then how much depreciation has been accumulated after 3 years? So we will put here 3 years, whereas here we will put here 5 years. Now, for the book value is equal to first cost minus the depreciation computed. Now, we will show a graph later on to show the relationship between the book value and the depreciation. So, for the examples, number 1, an engineer bought an equipment for 500,000 pesos. Other expenses including installations amounted to 30,000 pesos. At the end of its estimated useful life of 10 years, the salvage value will be 10% of the first cost. Using SLD or the straight line method, what is the book value after 5 years? So take note here, there's a mention of 2 periods, the 10 years and the 5 years. So obviously, the 10 years here is the life of the equipment, or that is the N. So we will put here N is equal to 10 years. And then we have here the first cost is equal to 500,000. And then including the expenses, of course, we have the 30,000. And that is a total of 530,000 pesos. Next that is mentioned here is the salvage value. The salvage value being the 10% of the first cost. The 10% of 530,000. That will equal to 53,000 pesos. Then we will be looking for the book value after 5 years. So going back to the formula, so we have here the annual depreciation and the depreciation only here. So this is the formula that we need. Book value is equal to first cost minus the depreciation. Now, since it is asking for the depreciation after 5 years, therefore, we will compute the total accumulated depreciation in 5 years. Okay? So, we have here the total depreciation. Total depreciation in 5 years. So, that is equal to the first cost minus the salvage value divided by N and then the X here. So that is equal to first cost of 530,000 pesos minus the salvage value of 53,000 divided by 10 times 5. So what is the total depreciation for 5 years? So we have here 530,000 minus 53,000 divided by 10 equals times 5. So we have here 238,500. Now, for the book value, we now have the first cost minus the depreciation, the total depreciation, and that is equal to 530,000 minus the depreciation of 238,500. So the book value now is equal to, so we have here 530,000 minus 238,500. So that is equal to 291,500. 291,500. So that is the book value after 5 years. Now, let's see the relationship of this in the graph. So we have here the graph. We have the book value in the y-axis and the n in the x-axis. The n is the number of, or that is the life of the equipment, number of life, or number of years. Okay, so it says here that in 5 years, so the total accumulated depreciation is 238,500. Now, why is it called straight line method? Now, let's graph to see why this is called the straight line method. Take note that when we are taking the total depreciation, we are using this formula. But if we are just asked for the annual depreciation, we are going to use this formula without the x. Meaning, we are taking the annual depreciation in a certain number of life or year in the life of the equipment. Okay, so let's graph using our calculator here. Clear. Alright, so for the first cost of 530,000 minus the salvage value of 53,000, then in the so we have here the n as the number of years. We have here 10, and then let's take here the depreciation at, so we have here at time 0. So obviously the answer is 0, meaning in the graph we have here at the time 0 we have 0 depreciation, so the book value is 530, so that is equal to 530 minus 0 is equal to 530. So it's here, 530,000. How about at the first year? That is 47,700. So 530,000 minus the answer, which is the 4770, that is equal to 482,300. But if we take the second year, since we are using here the second year. Okay. So we have here 530,000 minus 53,000. Then we have the 10 years life. Then let's check for the depreciation at the second year. 95,400. So that is 95,400. Then let's solve for the book value here. Book value is equal to 530,000 minus 95,400. So that is 434,600. So in the graph, we will have 434. So estimate it here. Okay. Then next, let's compute for the fourth year. 530,000 minus 53,000 divided by 10 years multiplied with 4 years. So 190,800. 530,000 minus the answer, we have 339,200. So for the fourth year, we have here 339,400. Next. Let's have here the sixth year. It is equal to 286,200. That is the depreciation in the sixth year. Then we have here 530,000 minus the depreciation. That is 243,800. So in the graph there. Next, let's compute for the depreciation at the 8th year. So at the 8th year, how much is the depreciation? 381,600. Then let's find the book value. That is 530,000 minus the answer, which is 381. So we have 148,400. So we have here 148,400. The next, we have the 10th year. So that's the last year. So that's the depreciation at the 10th year at the end of its life. And then we have here compute for the book value, 530,000 minus the answer. We have 53,000. Alright. So what's the point here? So this is the reason why it's called the straight line method, because it follows a straight line in the graph. Now what we did here is that in these years, okay, we follow the pattern of the depreciation of each year. So this is the depreciation for this year, the second year, the depreciation for the fourth year, depreciation for the sixth year, 8th year, and the 10th year. So what's left is the book value. So as time goes by until it reaches the end of the life of the equipment, this is the book value for the equipment. Second year, the fourth year, the sixth year, the 8th year, and the 10th year. So the book value of the equipment lessens as time passes by until it just reaches the, so we find this a while ago as the 53,000 book value. And this 53,000 book value is actually the salvage value here. So the value of the equipment at the end of its life. So that's the relationship between the depreciation. So the red line is the depreciation and the blue line is the book value. So this is the simplest method in calculating for the depreciation. And this is how we compute for the value of the equipment in each year. Okay, so that's for number 1. But of course, what we need to answer what is being asked in the problem. So what it is asking is the book value after 5 years. So we answered here 291,500. So we just did the graph just to see the relationship of the book value and the depreciation. Let's go to the second example. A small machine costing 80,000 pesos has a salvage value of X at the end of its life of 5 years. The book value at the end of the 4th year is 22,400. What is the value of X using straight line depreciation method? Okay, let's put here the given. So for the first cost, we have 80,000. Then the salvage value is missing and it is assigned as the X. Then we have here the number of years for the life of the machine is 5 years. Then the book value at the 4th year is equal to 22,400. So if you were using this formula here, the 4th year there will become the X. Okay, so using the formula, we have here the book value is equal to the first cost minus the total depreciation. So book value is equal to the first cost and the total depreciation is first cost minus the salvage value divided by N in the X years. So we have here the book value in the 4th year as 22,400 equals the first cost of 80,000 minus the first cost of 80,000 minus the missing salvage value divided by number of years. Life of the property is 5. Then we have here the 4th year of the book value. So we have here, we can compute this as shift solve. Let's try here in the calculator. 80,000 minus alpha x over 5 times 4. Shift solve equals, so shift solve 800, 8,000. So the value for salvage value is 8,000. Okay, so that's for number 2 using straight line depreciation method. Let's go to number 3. A machine has a salvage value of 12,000 pesos at the end of its useful life of 6 years. The book value at the end of 5 years is 30,833.33 pesos. Using straight line depreciation method, what is the first cost? Right? So we have here the following given. We have the salvage value of 12,000. Correct. It's 12,000 at the end of its useful life of 6 years. And the book value at the end of the 5th year is equal to 30,833.33 pesos. Then X is equal to 5 years. Then what is the first cost? Again, let's compute for the first cost using the formula book value is equal to first cost minus the total depreciation. So book value is equal to the first cost minus the first cost minus salvage value over n x. Book value in 5th year is 30,833.33 pesos equals the missing first cost minus the first cost minus the salvage value of 12,000 divided by the 6 years life and the 5th year of the book value. So 30,833.33. Alpha equals first cost alpha x minus the alpha x minus 12,000 over 6 times 5. Okay. So that is equal to the first cost. First cost is now equal to 124,999.98 pesos. That's the first cost. Okay, so that's for the straight line depreciation method. Let's proceed to the next method. Number 2, the sinking fund method is, we keep on encountering this already in the previous videos, in the previous lectures. So for the sinking fund method, basically you're looking for the annual worth here. So using the future worth formula, we have there the annual worth multiplied with 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 all over I. And then the future here will become the first cost minus the salvage value. So you might be wondering why this should be present, but no, we're doing the reverse. So this is the first cost minus the salvage value. So we will be getting the value for A here as the annual depreciation. Yes, we're doing the reverse. Okay, so this is the formula for the sinking fund method. Number 3, we have the sum of years digit method. So this is something that is new. So sum of years digit method. The total depreciation after X years. So using this formula for the future worth, then computing for the sum of years, we have n over 2 times n plus 1, and then still the formula for the book value is first cost minus depreciation. Now here's the example if we have the life of the property as n is equal to 10 years. If n is equal to 10 years, therefore, the sum of years here is 10 over 2 times 10 plus 1, and that is equal to 55. So what happens here is, if we tabulate the depreciation each year, what will happen here is, this is the life of the property, this is the end of its life, the 10th year. In the first year, what will happen here is the depreciation of the first year is the first cost minus the salvage value multiplied with the life of the property, 10 years, divided by the sum of the years, which is the 55 that we have computed earlier. Is the sum of years, 55. Then, if we proceed to the second year, what will happen here is the number of life of the property is diminished by 1. So instead of 10, it becomes 9. Then in the third year, the number of life of the number of years of the life of the property is diminished by 2 years, becomes 8, then divided by 55, and so on and so forth until it reaches the end of the life of the property of 10 years. So the depreciation now here becomes first cost minus salvage value multiplied with 1 divided by 55. If you notice, the amount is diminishing here until it reaches the 10th year. Then for computation, for the depreciation of the 4th year, this is the formula. If we're not using the table, so we'll just solve it directly. So for the depreciation of the 4th year, we will just have here 10 minus how many years previously? So we have there 3 years, so we have there 7. Now, as for the total depreciation, for the total depreciation at the end of the 4th year, we will have to accumulate all the number of years computed. So we have here 10, 9, 8, 7. So 7 for the 4th year. Then we have the book value at the end of the 4th year as book value is equal to the first cost minus the total depreciation. Right, so let's solve the examples. For number 1 of the sum of years digit method, we have a machine costs of 900,000 pesos and will have a salvage value of 450,000 pesos when retired at the end of 5 years. Using sum of years digit method, what is the sum of depreciation cost in the first 2 years? So the sum of the depreciation cost, it's talking about the total depreciation here. It's talking about the total depreciation in the first 2 years. Okay, so let's put here the given. The first cost is 900,000 pesos, salvage value 450,000 pesos. The life of the property is 5 years. And then for the sum of years, we have here n over 2. So here is the formula for sum of years. So this one here, n over 2, n plus 1. So n over 2, n plus 1. So we have here 5 over 2, 5 plus 1, and that is equal to 6 divided by 5 divided by 6 times 5 divided by 2, that is 15 years. So if we are going to use a table, so this is the year, this is the first year, the second year, and then the depreciation is, this is the table a while ago. We have the first cost minus salvage value multiplied with. So let's start with the total life of the property. So we have here the first cost is 900,000 minus the salvage value of 450,000 multiplied with the total number of years of the property, 5, divided by the sum of years of 15. So that's for the depreciation. Equals, then we have here 900,000 minus 450,000. Then the next one will be 4 over 15 is equal to, so this is 150,000 pesos and this is 120,000 pesos. So all in all, that is 270,000 pesos. This is the answer. It's asking for the sum of depreciation cost in the first 2 years. Now how about if we are not using the table? So we can have the solution or the total depreciation in 2 years. So we have here 5 plus 4 is 1 year divided by 15 multiplied with the first cost minus the salvage value of 450,000 pesos. So total depreciation now is equal to, of course, that is 270,000 pesos. So whichever is your solution, still the answer is the same. That's for number 1. Next, let's go to number 2. A machine costs 1.5 million pesos. It has a salvage value of 600,000 pesos at the end of its economic life. Using sum of years digit method, the book value at the end of 2 years is estimated to 870,000 pesos. What is the machine's economic life in X years? Okay, so this is a bit tricky, but let's see what we can do here. So the first cost of the machine is 1.5 million pesos. Then salvage value is 600,000 pesos. The book value at the end of the 2 years here, so we have 870,000 pesos. Now it's looking for N as the X years. Let's compute for the sum of years first. Sum of years is equal to N over 2, N plus 1. And that is equal to X over 2, X plus 1. Okay? So what we did a while ago in this example, computing for the total depreciation here, so we can use it in this example. And since the book value is given, what's the relationship of the book value with the depreciation? For the book value, we have this formula. Book value is equal to first cost minus the total depreciation in a certain year. So let's put here the formula for the book value equals the first cost minus the total depreciation in a certain year. Now in this case, depreciation in the second year. Okay, so we have here 870,000 pesos equals, or maybe let's compute first what will happen to the number of years. So remember the table. So we have here the year. So 1 and 2. So only 2 years. Then depreciation will become first cost minus the salvage value of 600,000. And then here is the tricky part. We have here the number of years as total. So we have the total number of years divided by the sum of years, and that is x over 2 x plus 1. Then what will happen in the second year will be, so 1.5 million 600,000. For the second one, we have x minus 1 all over the sum of years of x over 2 x plus 1. Therefore, how will we get this? That is x over 2 x plus 1 plus x minus 1 all over x over 2 x plus 1. That is equal to, so what will happen here is becomes 2x. Then, actually the x will be cancelled, so it's just 2 over x plus 1 plus, okay, so let's just leave the x there. So 2x over x plus 1 plus 2x minus 1 then x plus 1. So this becomes 2x plus 2x minus 2 all over x plus 1. So this becomes 4x minus 2 all over x plus 1. Okay, so that's how it is. Then let's use the formula again. The book value here is 870,000. First cost is 1.5 million. So 1.5 million. That's the first cost. Or let's just save some space. So let's just say this is 1.5 million. So that's the first cost here. Then the depreciation. The depreciation is here. The number of years and then the first cost minus the salvage value. So we have here minus 4x minus 2 all over x plus 1. Then the first cost is 1.5 million minus 600,000. Okay. Then let's use our calculator. So we have 870,000 alpha equals, so 1.5 million, so that is 1.5 minus, we have here 4x, 4 alpha x minus 2 over alpha x squared plus alpha x, just multiplied it. Then we have here 1.5 million minus 600. So 1.5 million minus 600,000. Shift solve. So there's two values of x. We can have the x as 0.7 or x is equal to 4. So here the answer here is, the number of years here is x is equal to 4 years. Okay. So the number of years is 4 years. So we disregard the 0.7 because obviously there has been a change in the amount. So that's for number 2 for the sum of years digit method. Let's go to the last example, number 3. An old machine was purchased 3 years ago at a cost of 50,000 pesos. It was estimated to have a useful life of 8 years with a salvage value of 5,000 pesos. It is now going to be replaced by a new machine costing 70,000 and 30,000 pesos. Trade-in will be allowed for the old machine. Determine the sunk cost if depreciation has been computed by letter A, straight line method, B, the sinking fund method at 16%, and C, the sum of years digit method. Okay, so we have here the given, the first cost is equal to 50,000 pesos. The sports history at the cost of, it was estimated to have a useful life of N is equal to 8 years. And then the X here is equal to 3 years, the number of years. And then salvage value, 5,000 pesos. It is now going to be replaced by an old brand new machine costing 70,000 and 30,000 trade-in will be allowed for the old machine. Trade-in, that means that is the resale value. Okay, so that will be the resale value. Talking about the trade-in, so 30,000 pesos for the resale value. And then, okay, so we will use the 3 methods to determine the sunk cost. Now for the formula of the sunk cost, that is equal to the book value minus the resale value. So first one here is the straight line method. So SLD, straight line depreciation method. Now for the total depreciation, so because we will be solving for the book value, so let's compute for the total depreciation. We have the first cost minus the salvage value divided by NX. So that is equal to first cost of 50,000 minus the salvage value of 5,000 divided by number of years, 8, and then at the third year. So total depreciation at third year is equal to 16,875. Book value now is equal to the first cost is 50,000 pesos minus the total depreciation at third year as 16,875. That is equal to 33,125 pesos. Therefore, sunk cost is now equal to the book value, which is 33,125 minus the resale value of 30,000 pesos. So sunk cost is now equal to 3,125 pesos. So that's for the straight line depreciation method. Okay, Now let's go to the second one, B, the sinking fund method. Sinking fund depreciation method. So we have here the FC minus salvage value equals the A 1 plus I raised to N minus 1 over I. So we have here first cost as 50,000 pesos minus salvage value of 5,000 equals A 1 plus how many percent? That was 16%. So that is 0.16 raised to the 8. So annual depreciation now here is 3160.09. So that's for the annual depreciation, annually. So that is evenly distributed. So we will have to find the total depreciation, the total annual worth in the third year. So we will use the future worth at the third year, and that is 3160.09 1 plus 0.16 raised to the power of 3 over 0.16. So F3 total depreciation at the third year is 11,078.01 pesos. Therefore, book value now is equal to the first cost of 50,000 minus the total depreciation of 11,078.01. So book value is equal to 38,921.99. So the sunk cost now is equal to the book value 38,921.99 minus the 30,000 pesos. So sunk cost is equal to, that is 8,921.99 pesos. So that's the sunk cost for or using sinking fund method. Next is C. Should say C. For letter C, we have the sum of years digit method. So sum of years first. We have here 8 divided by 2, 8 plus 1, and that is equal to 36 years. For depreciation at the third year, we have here, so 8, 7, 6 divided by the total 36. So 50,000 minus the 5,000, that is equal to, so that's the total depreciation in 3 years, starting with the life of the property 8, then reduced by 1, 876. So total depreciation at third year will be 26,250 pesos. Therefore, book value is equal to the first cost minus the total depreciation, that is equal to 23,750. Sunk cost now is equal to the book value of 23,750 minus 30,000 resale value, and that is equal to negative 6,250 pesos. Now, you may be wondering why negative. Okay, the negative sign means that the amount is not a loss but a gain. So that's for the sum of years digit method. Okay, so if we compare for the graph of these three methods, so let's try to graph them. Let's graph first the straight line depreciation method. So we have here straight line depreciation method. Let's have this as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, and then versus we have here 2, 4, 6, 8 years. So for the book value, now let's compute for the book value. Okay, so for the book value, we have here 50,000 pesos minus the total depreciation. So we have the first cost of 50,000 minus the salvage value of the 5,000, the life of 8, and then since we are using here 2, 4, 6, 8 years, so let's compute for the of course, if this is 0, therefore in the graph we have at year 0 we have here 50,000. So here 50k, this is 50k, 40k, 30k, 20k, 10k, right? So at 2 years, at the second year, we have here 38,750. So we have here 38,750. At the fourth year, we have 27,500. At the sixth year, 16,250. So 16,250, and the 8th year we have 5,000. So yes, this is the salvage value. Oops. Okay, I think I messed up with the graph a bit, but you know the idea here is that we can see here a straight line, and indeed it is a straight line. It's just that my graph is not that good. There. So it's actually a straight line. Let's just, if you graph this in a graphing paper, so you can see there that it is definitely a straight line. And let's go to the next one, the sinking fund method. The sinking fund depreciation method. Again, let's use the same graph. This is again 10k, so 10k, 20k, 30k, 40, then we have here 50k, and then this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. Okay, let's see how the graph for the sinking fund method is. So here's the calculator for the sinking fund method, okay, so we have here the first cost of 50,000 pesos minus the fund of 3160.09 multiplied 1 plus 0.16 raised to the power of 2. Then okay, minus 1. We have here 0.16. Okay, there we go. 43174. So in the graph, for the second year, we have there 43174. So at first we have there 50. Then we have here 43, somewhere there. Next, we have here the fourth year as 33,000. Next, we have the sixth year as 21,630. Approximately there. Then we have the eighth year as 5,000 pesos. Okay, so 5,000. Oops. Okay, here at the 5,000 pesos. So the graph that we formed here is actually what we will be having here will be a curved line. Okay, so it will be a curved line with opening downward. Then, how about for the sum of years digit method? The SOYD method. So this is 10K, 20K, 30K, and then 40, and then 50K. We have here 2, 4, 6, 8. So let's find this sum of years digit method here. Okay. Book value 50,000 pesos minus for the depreciation we have there the first year will be 8 over 36 times the first cost minus the salvage value. So we have there 5,000, so 40,000. So in the graph we have there 4. So this is the first year. So what we're looking for is the second year. So that is 8 plus 7. So 31 to 50. So from here, then it becomes 31 to 50. It drops immediately at the second year. So notice the difference. So a sudden drop in the sum of years digit method. Then let's go to the fourth year. 6, 5, 17, 5. So here we go, the 17 here. Then we have the sixth year, it would be 4, 3, 8. Then finally, we have the 8th year, so 5,000. So for the sum of years digit method, so we will be having a curve that is opening upward. So the difference is that there is a steady, so in the straight line method, there is a steady depreciation here, linearly. Then we have the sum of years, a sinking fund method, slow depreciation at first here, slow drop, and then greater depreciation happens as time goes by. The first years, we have minimal depreciation, but as time goes by, it really increases significantly. For the sum of years digit method, so you can see here, the sudden drop on this second year, the sudden drop for the fourth year, and then goes minimal as time goes by. So that's the difference for these three methods. So that's all for this.